Welcome to new video. Today we explore the rich history and fascinating culture of ancient Egypt. In this series, we'll take a deep dive into the lives of pharaohs, the construction of magnificent pyramids, and the secrets of a civilization that has captivated people for thousands of years. Let's explore the history of Egypt together. The history of Egypt is a rich and fascinating subject that has captivated people for centuries. From the ancient pharaohs and their magnificent tombs to the modern cities of Cairo and Alexandria, Egypt has a wealth of history and culture to explore. Egypt is a country located in the northeastern corner of Africa, bordered by Libya to the west, Sudan to the south, and Israel and the Gaza Strip to the east. It is also situated alongside the Mediterranean Sea to the north. The geography of Egypt is dominated by the Nile River, which flows from south to north and empties into the Mediterranean Sea. The Nile is the lifeblood of the country, providing water for irrigation and transportation as well as fertile land for farming. Egypt has a long and complex history, with evidence of human habitation dating back to the Paleolithic era. One of the earliest known civilizations in Egypt was the Old Kingdom, which arose around 2686 BC and lasted until 2181 BC. During this time, the pyramids of Giza were built as tombs for the pharaohs, showcasing the advanced engineering and architectural skills of the ancient Egyptians. Throughout its history, Egypt was ruled by a series of dynasties, with powerful pharaohs at the helm. These rulers oversaw the construction of elaborate temples, statues, and tombs, and their reigns were often marked by periods of prosperity and cultural achievement. Egypt was also a center of trade and commerce, with its location on the Nile providing easy access to other parts of Africa and the Middle East. It was a crossroads of culture, with influences from neighboring kingdoms and empires shaping its art, religion, and politics. Despite its rich history, Egypt was also subject to foreign rule at various times, including by the Persians, Greeks, and Romans. These occupations left their mark on Egyptian culture and society, leading to a unique blend of ancient and modern influences. The pharaohs of ancient Egypt were powerful rulers who oversaw a period of great cultural and architectural achievements. Here are some of their most notable accomplishments. 1. The building of monumental pyramids. The pharaohs oversaw the construction of the pyramids, which were massive tombs designed to house their bodies after death. These pyramids are some of the most iconic landmarks of ancient Egypt and showcase the advanced engineering and architectural skills of the time. 2. The creation of elaborate temples. The pharaohs also commissioned the building of elaborate temples throughout Egypt. These temples were dedicated to various gods and were often adorned with intricate carvings, paintings, and hieroglyphics. 3. The development of a complex writing system. The ancient Egyptians developed a complex system of hieroglyphics, which they used to record everything from religious texts to administrative records. This system was later adapted into a simplified form of writing called hieratic, which was used for everyday purposes. 4. The establishment of a centralized government. The pharaohs created a centralized government that allowed for the efficient administration of the country. This included the creation of a bureaucracy to manage affairs and the development of a legal system to enforce laws. 5. The promotion of art and literature. The pharaohs were patrons of the arts, commissioning statues, paintings, and other works of art. They also supported the development of literature, including the famous Book of the Dead. Religion played a central role in ancient Egyptian society, permeating every aspect of daily life. The ancient Egyptians believed in a complex pantheon of gods and goddesses who controlled the forces of nature and guided human affairs. The most important god was Ra, the sun god, who was believed to be the creator of the world. Other gods included Osiris, the god of the afterlife, and Isis, the goddess of fertility and motherhood. Each of these gods had specific attributes and responsibilities, and were often depicted in human or animal form. The ancient Egyptians also believed in the concept of the afterlife, and it played a central role in their religious beliefs. They believed that the soul of the deceased would journey through the underworld and be judged by the god Osiris. Egypt experienced several periods of foreign rule throughout its history. Starting with the invasion of the Hyksos in the Second Intermediate Period, circa 1650 to 1550 BCE. The Hyksos, who came from Western Asia, ruled over northern Egypt for almost a century, introducing new military technologies such as the chariot. In the 4th century BCE, Egypt was conquered by the Persians, who ruled over the country for nearly 2 centuries. The Persians introduced their own religious beliefs and customs to Egypt, but also allowed the Egyptians a degree of autonomy in their daily affairs. In 332 BCE, Egypt was conquered by Alexander the Great, marking the beginning of the Hellenistic period in Egyptian history. The Greeks introduced their own language, customs, and religion to Egypt, and the Ptolemaic dynasty, which was descended from one of Alexander's generals, ruled over Egypt for almost 3 centuries. During this time, Egypt was a center of learning and culture, with famous scholars and philosophers such as Euclid and Eratosthenes living and working in Alexandria. In 30 BCE, Egypt was conquered by the Romans, who ruled over the country for over 600 years. The Romans introduced new administrative and legal systems, and left their mark on Egyptian architecture and art. However, the Romans also faced several revolts and uprisings from the Egyptian population, including the famous revolt led by the Queen Cleopatra. Overall, the period of foreign rule in Egypt was marked by both cultural exchange and conflict. While the foreign rulers brought new ideas, technologies, and customs to Egypt, the modern era in Egypt began with the Caliphate of Egypt, a semi-autonomous state under the Ottoman Empire in the 19th century. Here are some of the key events and figures from this period. 1. Muhammad Ali Pasha. Muhammad Ali Pasha, often referred to as the founder of modern Egypt, he rose to power in the early 19th century and initiated a series of reforms aimed at modernizing the country. These reforms included the establishment of a modern army and the introduction of new industries such as cotton cultivation. 2. The Suez Canal. In 1869, the Suez Canal was opened, connecting the Mediterranean Sea to the Red Sea and greatly increasing trade and commerce between Europe and Asia. The canal was built by the French and was financed by international investors, including the British government. 3. British occupation. In 1882, the British occupied Egypt, citing concerns over the country's financial stability. The British remained in control of Egypt until the 1950s, with their rule marked by resistance and uprisings from the Egyptian population. 4. Wafd Party. The Wafd Party was founded in 1918 and became a major force in Egyptian politics, advocating for independence from British rule. The party's leader, Saad Zaghloul, led protests and negotiations that eventually resulted in Egypt gaining independence in 1922. 5. NASA and the Free Officers Movement. In 1952, a group of military officers known as the Free Officers Movement staged a coup, overthrowing the monarchy and establishing a republic. The leader of the movement, Jamal Abdel Nasser, became the president of Egypt and implemented a series of socialist policies, including nationalizing industries and redistributing land. 6. Six-Day War. In 1967, Egypt went to war with Israel in what became known as the Six-Day War. The war resulted in a decisive Israeli victory, with Israel occupying the Sinai Peninsula until the Camp David Accords of 1978. Arab Spring. In 2011, Egypt was one of several countries that experienced widespread protests and uprisings during the Arab Spring. These protests led to the resignation of longtime President Hosni Mubarak and marked a major shift in Egyptian politics. The modern era in Egypt was marked by significant political, social, and economic changes, including the struggle for independence, the impact of foreign powers, and the rise of new political movements. These events and figures continue to shape modern Egypt and its place in the world. Contemporary Egypt is a country that is rapidly changing and facing numerous challenges, while also remaining a cultural and historical center of the Middle East and North Africa. Here are some key aspects of contemporary Egypt. Political situation. Since the 2011 revolution and the ousting of President Hosni Mubarak, Egypt has undergone significant political change. There have been multiple changes in government, including the election of Mohamed Morsi in 2012, the military coup in 2013 that removed him from power, and the subsequent election of current President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in 2014. However, human rights abuses and restrictions on freedom of speech and assembly have been a cause for concern. Economy. Egypt is the third largest economy in Africa and is heavily dependent on tourism and exports, particularly of oil and gas. The government has implemented economic reforms, including the flotation of the currency in 2016 and the reduction of subsidies, in an attempt to improve the economy and reduce debt. Society and culture. Egyptian society is diverse, with a population of over 100 million people. The country is predominantly Muslim, but there are also significant Christian and other religious minority communities. The arts, including literature, music, and film, continue to be an important part of Egyptian culture. Challenges. Egypt faces numerous challenges, including high levels of poverty and unemployment, a rapidly growing population, and the impact of climate change on the Nile Delta. There is also ongoing political instability and violence, including the threat of terrorism. Overall, contemporary Egypt is a country in transition, facing numerous challenges but also possessing significant potential for growth and development. Its rich cultural heritage and strategic location make it an important player in the region, with an influence that extends far beyond its borders. Thank you for watching our YouTube video on the history of Egypt. We hope you enjoyed learning about this fascinating ancient civilization that left an indelible mark on human history. And we look forward to sharing more fascinating stories and insights with you in the future.